Maternal Instinct by Blackbird. Chapter 7. Mama, I'm coming home! Kim looked over her shoulder to see if she was still being followed. Sure enough, the three agents of the worldwide evil empire were still hot on her tail. She got on an irritated sigh as she faced forward again and tried to think of a way to get rid of them. This was definitely not what she had in mind when she went to the mall today. She had planned to use that time to think things over, which is why she went alone, a decision she now regretted. Like many things in life, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but now she realized it was a mistake. At the time, though, she really did want to be alone so she could let her mind wander while browsing through the stores. Unfortunately, her mind seemed to wander back to the same problem. Shin. More specifically, how to keep her safe. The same day's vision had come true, and villains were crawling out of the woodwork to get her to get to Shigo and the baby, or vice versa. There had to be some way to hold them back until after Shin was born, where Wei could set up a plethora of security systems around her. Not to mention Shigo finally being able to fight again. Until then, she just didn't know what she was going to do. While caught up in those thoughts, she found her way into a jewelry store and stumbled upon something she thought would make a perfect gift for Shigo. She wasn't sure why that thought crossed her mind, but it was something positive, and she desperately needed it at the time. Of course, no sooner had she bought the item than 7 WEE agents appeared. She managed to take out 4 of them already, and just now had to figure to get rid of the 3 currently chasing her. They're persistent, I'll give them that! She thought in annoyance. She searched the area for something that might give her an advantage, but only found frightened mall workers jamming storefronts to get out of the way. It seemed the mall kept all the sample carts on the first floor, so even trying to use one of those was out of the question. Just as she was about to give up on finding something useful, she spotted one of the support pillars a few feet in front of her. With a slight smirk, she ran towards it at full speed, then jumped forward to bounce the pillar and deliver a perfect spin kick to the chin of the man in the middle group. She quickly recovered and backflipped over the 2 remaining WEE to continue on their way. The 2 uniformed men stared at their fallen comrade for a moment, before they looked at each other, then continued to follow Kim towards the escalators. "Excuse me, pardon me, sorry!" Kim apologized as she pushed her way through the crowded escalator. When she reached the bottom, she let out an exhausted breath, was quickly turned into an irritated sigh, when she heard a series of startled cries. She turned around to find the last 2 WEE agents shoving people on the escalator aside as they made their way towards her. She again looked to her surroundings for something useful, and smirked when she found the perfect item. "Would you care for a Swiss envelope, please?" the blonde salesgirl asked, as she held up a bottle of perfume. "No thanks, but I do need to borrow this real quick," Kim replied as she reached for the ball. "Bye-bye, please and thank you," she said as she quickly snatched the ball already herself. She watched carefully as the first agent off the escalator charged towards her, arms held up high to grab her. She waited until he was practically on top of her, before squeezing the small black rubber ball handle, sending a light-accented cloud his way. The agent went into a gagging fit as he swallowed most of the perfume. Kim tossed the bottle back into the salesgirl, and then delivered a jump kick to the man's stomach and sent him stumbling backwards. Between the confusion of the perfume and the pain of the kick, he failed to notice the fence around the large pool-like fountain in the middle of the common area until he tripped over it. His arms flailed as he flipped over the small picket fence and landed in the pond with a large splash. He let out a loud groan as he floated on his back, apparently unconscious. Kim stared at him a moment for to make sure that he was relatively alright, then turned back to the last remaining WEE agent. They stood a few feet from each other, bodies tense and ready for a fight. By this time, the other mall patrons moved away from the surrounding area, so it was just the 2 of them. Kim's face was harsh as she glared at him. Not only had he and his friends ruined a perfectly good afternoon, but she was completely fed up with not being able to leave her house without getting judged by someone. It was time to take a stand, to set an example. And if this poor guy had to be that example, well, it was his own fault. She relaxed her posture just enough to bring her right arm up, turn her palm side up, to flex her fingers in the universally accepted gesture of "Bring it!" The agent's muscles seemed to tense up even more as his feet slid apart for sturdier ground. He stared at her hard, and Kim could almost see his hated gaze through the black, one-way goggles. He took a step forward in preparation for his next move. "Man, I ain't paying me enough for this," he blurted out before running away. A perplexed and oddly calm expression crossed Kim's face at that action. "Well, That was certainly unexpected, she muttered. She let out a relieved sigh and relaxed her body. She knew should really go after him and bring him to the police, or global justice, or someone, but what she really wanted more than anything was to go home. Knowing that was probably for the best, she started and headed for the nearest exit. She told Wade about the unconscious agents on her way home. Yeah, that's the best plan. I just want to get home and try to relax before the next villain decides to show up, she thought. This was all how they knew about Shin. Blackgate Prison was built specifically with supercriminals in mind. It features the latest state-of-the-art security for its cells, courtyard, fences, and of course, guards. Plus there are double that of a normal prison. Originally, the security measures are diminished somewhat by the public's knowledge of the prison, therefore its complacency to government regulations. Prisoners are required to have 3 meals a day, plenty of exercise and recreation time, and most unnerving visitation rights. While most of the criminals held within Blackgate's wall were only slightly above normal criminals in how dangerous they could be, letting them have contact with the outside world does put some people on edge, particularly the guards. But it was what people wanted, no matter the consequences. So we're basically saying that Kim Possible takes place in the DC universe. Makes sense. Although personally, I would have gone for the Marvel verse just to say that Shield had a side branch in Global Justice. One inmate was quite happy with that arrangement, was the blue skin and the armored guards were escorting back to his cell. Though he was born Drew Lipsky, he is known the world over as Dr. Draken. At least, you like to think he is. In truth, most of the guards and other inmates failed to recognize him, and often wondered why he was here. He never let these taunts get to him, though, because he knew how brilliant he was, even if no one else did. He had gotten used to the much more hurtful remarks around having worked with Shigo for all those years. Scream grew wryer at the thought of his traitorous ex-sidekick. The news he had gotten made him happier than he had been in a long time, and nothing could bring him down. He even nodded politely as the guards placed him back in his cell. He smirked at his cellmate, the man with the curiously long eyebrows and beard that curled up into ends. As he left, he couldn't help but let out a small maniacal chuckle. He turned around and glanced back and forth between the plexiglass doors to see if the coast was clear, before breaking into a full-blown laugh. Excellent! He shouted as his laughing fit died down. Through the careful machinations of my still loyal henchmen, I have been able to spread word throughout the villain community about Shigo's condition. Even as we speak, countless villains are tracking her down to use her as bait in their nefarious plans to get Kim Possible. So I will have to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I will finally be rid of Kim Possible and teach Shigo the price for betraying Dr. Draken. Alright already, his cellmate exclaimed. Heard this all before. Great. You finally got rid of your arch rival. Good for you. Now if you don't mind, some of us have our own plan to work on. Mine involves the torment of my immortal enemy. Already gotten word that 2 of his boys have been killed, and while he is grieving over them, my henchmen shall slowly but surely take away everything else he holds dear, slowly driving him to the brink of madness. Even is he begging me for death, while I grant him that sweet release after he has cleared the wrath of the monarch. And he complains about me, Draken muttered under his breath. Kim smiled when she stepped into her house, thankful to not to have to worry about anything else on her way home. Over the last few weeks, she had to deal with everyone from DNA Amy to Monkey Fist, even Andrea Lynn had to show up to torment her. Now she had to worry about the WEE. It seemed like everybody knew about Shigo's baby, and all they wanted was for some reason or another. Of course, she was determined not to let that happen. But she had to admit herself it was all rather exhausting, more than her usual world-saving exploits. But she wasn't going to think about that right now. She was home, and that was her time to stop being Kim Possible. Being Kim Possible, world saver, and just be Kim Possible, teenager. Soon enough, though, that resume would have to include Kim Possible, mother. Or rather, co-mother, she corrected. Yeah, I think that works best. Definitely keeps things less confusing. You know, while I'm thinking of her... Kim had something in her pocket before she made her way through the living room and down the hall to the guest room Shigo was currently using. She knocked lightly on the door so not to disturb her too much. When there was no answer, she assumed Shigo was asleep and decided to come back later. She thought, pausing mid-step. I could leave it in there as a surprise. A slight grin crossed her face as she settled on the idea and turned back to the door. She reached for the knob and slowly twisted it, cringing a bit at the overly loud noise it made. The latch slid back with its customary click. Kim found herself a bit surprised as the door swung open. She's either become really trusting or really careless, she thought as she sunk into the room. She made her way over to the bed as quietly as she could, acting more like she was sneaking into a mad scientist's lair than the room of her own house. When she got to the next stand next to the bed, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, green velvet box. She placed it on a nightstand and gave it one final tap before she turned to leave the room. She stopped, however, when she caught sight of Seiko's sleeping form, scant inches away from her. The pale-skinned woman was sleeping on her right side, and though her body was mostly covered by a blanket, Kim was sure the other pillow to the bed was stuffed between her legs to help support her back. Kim was always surprised by the change that seemed to happen to Seiko when she was asleep. Gone was the fiery, sarcastic woman who was soon just as punch you and look at you, and replaced with someone soft, fragile, and content, but mostly peaceful, she thought with a gentle smile. I can't get over that. It's just completely different from what I expect from Shigo. The serene scene was brought to an abrupt end when the woman in question let out a yawn, phlegm snore. Yeah, that's more what I expect from Shigo, Kim thought wearily. With that, she turned and left the room, as quiet as she'd come in. After she closed the door, she made her way through the house again towards her own room, intending to follow Shigo's example and take a quick nap. Her geometry homework would have to wait for later. Unfortunately, as she ascended the stairs, she couldn't help but feel this overwhelming sense of dread. She knew it was stupid, though, because if there was someone else in the house, they wouldn't have left Shigo alone. Plus, knowing her brothers, were probably more of an evidence of a fight. At least something would be destroyed. Great, now I'm paranoid too, she thought. She shook it off and continued up the stairs to her room. It's only once she reached the top step that she realized the feeling wasn't wrong. She stood frozen as she simply stared in stunned amazement at the monstrosity sitting in front of her bed. There, resting on an artist's stand, was a poster-sized picture of herself, sitting on the couch in dirty and torn missing clothes, and there next to her was Shigo in a green sweater and black sweatpants. They were leaning against one another in sleep. It looked like the perfect picture of contentment. Judging by the fact that someone had taken a picture of them like that, it was apparently true. It wasn't just the fact that there was a giant picture of her and Shigo sleeping next to her that had upset her. It was also the words, silver in prose, that made her blood boil. Kim and Shigo floated above them, while sitting in a tree, hung down by their ankles. Though the old rhyme was uncompleted, its meaning was crystal clear. She knew of only two people that were not only devious enough to pull a stunt like this, but also had easy access to her room. Tweebs! A roar echoed throughout the house, raising two sets of ears in particular. Looks like she found it, Tim smirked. Oh yeah, Tim agreed, equally amused. Love the face too? Oh yeah. Even as the twins set about the next stage of their plan, Kim's thundering footsteps and angered manners could be heard rushing down the stairs. Her first stop, of course, was their room, but a quick kick at the door revealed it to be empty. She let out a frustrated puff and began to stalk the rest of the house, with various forms of punishment flowing through her mind. Her final stop was the kitchen, where she found her parents preparing dinner. They shared a look before turning towards their daughter. Kim, is that you making all that noise? Dr. Possible asked. Where are they? Kim snapped, ignoring the question. Who, your brothers? Dr. Possible asked. Yes, where are they? I need to talk to them? Is it about this? Mrs. Dr. Possible asked, holding up a smaller copy of the picture. Kim guessed in horror. They made copies? Oh, come on, honey, I think it's cute. It's not cute, it's just... She seemed to flare for the right word. Just, where are they? I think they went outside, Dr. Possible stated absentmindedly. But Kim, remember, I don't... The rest of his advice went unheeded as the red-haired woman streaked out of the kitchen, followed quickly by the sound of the door slamming shut. Again, the possible parents looked at each other in concern. Do you think we should try to stop her? Dr. Possible asked. I don't think she'll listen to us right now. Mrs. Dr. Possible said. Besides, as much as she talks bad about them, they're still her brothers, and I don't think she'll hurt them too badly. At least I hope not.
Maybe we should be more concerned about this.
Oh, sweetie, lighten up. They're siblings. They're supposed to fight.
No, I mean this,
He clarified, holding out the picture. What about it? Like I said, I think it's cute.
Maybe, but I'm not so sure. I mean, what if...
What if... What? Aunt Possible prodded, staring intently at her husband.
Well, they are awfully close in this picture,
he said, inspecting the picture again. She goes carrying Kim's child. It's only natural for them to get closer.
But how close?
You remember what it was like when you were pregnant with Kim? A little smile crossed Anne's face as the memory of her first pregnancy was instantly called up. While she didn't care for the morning sickness, or mood swings, or the extra weight she had to burn off afterwards, what she did like was how her husband had been so attentive and loving to her during that time. Indeed, their love had strengthened through those 9 long months, but it also brought her to the point she knew he was hinting at. She sighed as she laid the spoon she had been stirring with down, and turned to fully face her husband. So what if this did happen? Would you love our daughter any less? She asked sternly, crossing her arms over her chest.
No, of course not,
he said sincerely.
It would be an assessment, sir, but I wouldn't stop loving her. I'm just concerned for her happiness. If this does turn into something more, then not only will she have to deal with her own confusion and societal pressures, but also...
Also what?
Well, I'm not sure if I trust Chigo. She is a villainess after all.
Anne sighed again and took the picture from his hand to hold it up to his face. Look at this picture, James. Does this look like the same Shigo that worked for Dr. Draken?
Well, no, he stammered, caught off by the seriousness in her voice.
No, it doesn't. To me, it looks like the mother of Kim's child and the woman who risked her life to save mine a few weeks ago. She lowered the picture and her expression softened as she brought her hand to his cheek. If you can't trust her, then I know you can trust me in my judgment.
Of course I can,
he replied, placing his hands gently on her hips.
You've never let me down before. Well, if she does anything to hurt my little Kimmy cub...
I know, dear, I know.
Am I interrupting something?
A new but familiar voice asked. They quickly jumped out of their impromptu embrace in surprise, and turned to see the woman they were talking about, standing in the kitchen doorway. Her groggy appearance and light green pajamas told him she had been rather rudely awakened from his peaceful sleep.
Who's screaming bloody murder out here?
Shiko asked, still trying to rub the sleep from her eyes. That would be Kim, Anne told her. She found something the boys made and is a little upset over it. Shiko gave her a questioning look, and despite her better judgment, Anne handed her the picture. She stared a bit blankly as her cloudy mind took a few seconds to process what she was seeing. When it finally kicked in, her reaction was much like Kim, and her eyes grew wide from shock, then narrowed in anger as she snarled and balled her free hand to her fists.
Oh, they are going to fry for this!
Growled as she ignited her fist, burning the picture in the process. No! Anne said forcefully, surprising both Shiko and James. Shiko, I know you're upset, but I will not let you have hurting my boys.
Yes, James said. When I said you first moved in here, you would have to follow the rules of the house, and we don't condone the serious hurting of family members.
Besides, Anne spoke again. More softly this time she stepped forward and placed a hand on Shiko's stomach. You don't like it that all these villains are trying to hurt your child, do you? Shiko stared at her for a long time, as she came up with some reason how this situation was different. But she just couldn't. She knew Anne was right. No matter how annoying the twins were, they were still her children, and part of the family Shiko now found herself a part of. But this means she couldn't let it slide.
Fine,
she said, powered down.
I won't hurt them.
Too much, she added mentally. Good, Anne smiled. Maybe you could also stop Kimmy from hurting them, too. She was rather tweaked at them. And you know how she can get when she's mad.
All too well,
Shiko smirked.
I'll try, but I'm not making any promises.
That's all we ask,
she spoke up.
So where is the princess, anyway?
Outside, both Dr. Possibles answered. Shiko was taken a bit off guard by the simultaneous answers, but nodded anyway and wallowed her way outside. After finding nothing except the leavings of one of her neighbor's dogs in the front yard, she made her way back around the back and instantly spied Kim searching the area intently. She stopped long enough for Shigo to get close, but even still her eyes continued to dart forward.
Still haven't found them, huh?
Shigo remarked. Kim quirked an eyebrow.
How did you? Your mom showed me the picture.
Oh, well trust me, I plan to make them pay for that.
Actually, your mom sent me here to talk you out of hurting them.
They stared at each other silently for several seconds.
So, after we blow them both to hell, pick up some of the big pieces so we can say we tried.
Shigo replied. A devious smile crossed Kim's face at that remark. It was soon copied by Shigo before the two set out again to find Jim and Tim. Despite the women's attraction skills, were more equally, if not more so, adept at hiding. They searched behind the bushes and up trees, and even on the roof of the house. They couldn't find anything. That's when it seemed like they had lost the two boys. A rustle came from the tree that they had to check. Kim sprinted forward like a hound chasing a scent, completely ignoring the suspicious patch of grass in front of the tree.
Kim, wait!
Before she knew what was happening, Kim found herself trapped in a giant net that was lifted off the ground. She watched in frustration as her brother slid down a tree with a rope in each hand and tied it securely to a trunk when she reached the ground. She grunted angrily as he tried to find a way out of the net.
Ha! Gotcha!
They both shouted together.
But you don't have me,
Kim and Shigo said in a soft, deadly tone.
No,
Tim replied calmly.
but we can outrun you.
Jim added, equally as calm.
Probably. But try to outrun this.
She exclaimed as she lit up both her fists.
Oh no!
The twins shouted as they started to run. They deftly dodged her attacks as they made their mad dash to the garage. Shigo growled and slowly started to walk towards it, her hands still engulfed in green and black plasma. Right as her hand reached for the doorknob, the main door opened, and the two shot out of the garage on rocket-powered scooters. She set a few more blasts their way and considered chasing after them, but knew it would be useless with her speed and condition. Instead, she sighed and walked back to where Kim was still standing. As she looked up at the struggling teen hero, she couldn't help but chuckle a bit.
Need some help?
She asked tearfully.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Kim grumbled.
A little bit, yeah. Just get me down. All right.
With one swift swipe of her plasma-charged hand, she cut the ropes, holding the net up, and sent Kim crashing to the ground with a loud whelp. She then realized what she had done. Shigo tried to move forward to catch the girl, but found her legs unable to move fast enough. She closed her eyes and cringed at the dull thud Kim's body made when it hit the ground. She peeked one eye open to find a redhead sitting on the grass and rubbing her sore backside. She wanted to crouch down next to her and check on her, but found that difficult as well as he simply stood over her.
Sorry,
Shigo offered.
guess I didn't think about what I was doing. I would have caught you, but, well, I know,
Kim muttered as she stood up.
and I'm fine.
Except for my sore butt. My pride took most of the bruising.
No kidding.
Shigo smirked.
Of course, how do you think I feel? Not only did they get away from me, but they were able to catch you a lot better than I ever could.
Well, now you know why I was so good to avoid those traps.
Guess so.
Yeah, Kim sighed. Now let's get inside. I could really use a rest after everything that happened today. Thought slightly confused by the comment, Shigo nodded and followed Kim back inside the house. After a quick explanation and apology to her parents, Kim went into the living room, where she helped Shigo sit down on the couch before collapsing onto herself and with a tired sigh. She stretched her arms out on the back of the couch as she laid her head back and closed her eyes, relishing the moment of peace and quiet, which was completely interrupted by the familiar tone of the communicator.
Dee dee dee!
Not now, she groaned.
You know, you could just not answer it.
Shigo said nonchalantly as he flipped through the channels.
Yeah,
Kim replied absently, then seriously began to consider it.
Yeah, I suppose I could, but no, I can't. If people need help, I have to help them.
You're just too nice for your own damn good.
Maybe,
she muttered as he pulled the communicator out of her pocket.
What's the situation? You gotta get on the site about something about the Ghost City Bird Sanctuary,
Wade informed. Ghost City, Kim repeated, before she and Shigo cast each other strange looks. Wade, not to sound disrespectful or anything, but doesn't Team Go usually handle things out there?
I mean, it is their city. That's what I thought, but the message specifically requested you.
Wade cowered.
I don't know, it still doesn't feel right. Maybe if...
She stopped herself when a thought occurred. She cast a slight glance over to Shigo, but seemed oblivious to her actions. Returning her attention back to Wade. You know what? I think I'll go. Set up a ride and call Ron to tell him to be ready. Okay, Wade replied, feeling a little suspicious about her change of heart. I'll call you back with details in a bit. Thanks, Wade, Kim said before shutting out the device. So you actually decided to go, huh? Chica retorted. Well, have fun. Oh, I'm sure I will. And I'm not going alone. The redhead replied. Chico turned her head towards Kim, at the slightly mischievous tone she used, and the pregnant, raven-haired woman's face fears were confirmed when she noticed a matching glint in Kim's eyes. Why do I get this feeling you're not talking about stoppable? She asked, mostly to herself. Because I'm not. I want... No! But it's... No! Come on! No! Just this... No! Shh! No! She shouted loudly. No, 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 no! I'm not going! But your family's there, Kim protested. This is exactly why I'm not going. Because you didn't notice the last time? I don't really get along that well with my brothers. But they're your family. They have a right to know about... She finished the sentence by laying a hand on Chico's plump belly. No, they really don't, she insisted. Aw, please, Kim pleaded again, her lips starting to quiver. Oh, no. No, you're not getting me with that, Chico remarked, knowing what was coming. With what? The redhead asked, her voice taking on a cute, pleading tone. I'm not seeing you, the old woman replied as she focused all her attention on the TV. Despite her best efforts, though, she could make out the frame of Kim's face out of the corner of her eye, and it immediately sprang to Chico's mind what she was doing. She held up her left hand to completely block the visual from sight. It was too foiled, as surely but surely, Kim's pounding head came into view as the redhead leaned toward her. Go! Chico shrieked out in surprise as he tried to avert her gaze. But alas, it was too late. She had seen the puppy dog pout, and already burned it into her retina. That sad, pathetic-looking face just asking her to do one little thing. How could she say no? Fine! She finally agreed with a annoyed sigh. You know, one of these days, that isn't going to work. Kim replied with a triumphant smirk as he ran out to get ready for the mission. The Ghost City Bird Sanctuary was a very large building, furnished with nearly top to bottom with trees and shrubbery of all kinds. A small creek ran through most of the habitat, which necessitated the need for the small wooden bridges for visitors. It was slightly curved to appear rustic, and added more serene settings. It was only large and dangerous birds that were fenced off, so at any given time, the attendees could see various birds flying and nesting through the indoor forest. Many found it to be a beautiful and peaceful place, where they could come and get away from the hectic city life for a few hours. All this was during the day, however. At night, the lights went off and the building was locked up, like most other buildings in the city. Unlike most of the others, however, the sanctuary security was rather lax, since it decided no one really wanted to break into it, as there was nothing valuable to steal. The birds themselves were all rather common, so even exotic animals collectors left it at home. This lasted security made it easy for someone to sneak into the building and hide out until it was closed and locked, especially when one dressed himself like a bird and could therefore blend in with his surroundings. One such man did. He was a man well known to the law enforcement of Ghost City, in particular superhero protectors. He stepped out of hiding spot among the bushes and chuckled maniacally as he stepped into the pale moonlight and provided a skylight behind him. Yes! Very soon now, Kim Possible will be here, and once I have her, Shiga will come to save her. And then when I have her, the rest of Team Go will have to show up to save her. Then I can destroy them all at once, and finally, the city will belong to me! Aquarius! He ran to he threw his hairs up into the air excitedly. A long, loud, maniacally filled laugh hit the air mixed with the irritated chirps of birds, awoken from their slumber by the madman.